Hi, it's Jason Waters, and welcome to my Mortgage Minute. With us today, we have Cheryl Hodges with First Class Premier Group. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So glad to have you on the show. Excited to hear your expertise in the real estate market, especially when it relates to buyers trying to buy in this crazy market. It's kind of easy for sellers these days. So,
That's true.
so tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business?
So I've had my real estate license for 3 years.
Okay.
I started out doing residential. So I was working for a broker and we were doing rentals, working with investors. And now I sell real estate, do sales, and I do residential sales and commercial, and I can help with investments full time. So
Okay.
that's what I've been doing full time for the last year.
So what does that look like, investments full time? What does that mean?
Well, helping people with investment. So I'll help people locate income producing properties if they're looking for
Okay.
duplexes, homes that'll kind of generate money. Since my background is in property management, I do have I have some property management experience, so I can kind of help them, decide what properties might be best, if they're looking to do long-term rentals or even vacation rentals and short-term rentals.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's a good niche. I mean, I talk to people all the time that want to buy investment properties and they don't know how to get started. And I always say, well, you need to find somebody that can find the properties for you. And well, first of all,
Right.
you need to be qualified to buy the property. So using cash or using conventional mortgage or using hard money, like what does that look like? And then
Right.
a good agent to go out there and find them. So
That's
great.
true.
Glad to know you're doing that. Any certain types of or areas that you focus in around town?
Mostly right inside the 285 perimeter in
Okay.
Atlanta or right outside, but for the right price point, I'll drive.
You
It
go
doesn't matter
anywhere.
to
I
me.
get it. I get
It
it.
doesn't matter to me.
Awesome. Okay. So let's dive into this whole seller's market thing that we have right now. One day it'll be a buyer's market again. I don't know which one's better for our businesses, but
That's
they.
true.
So tell us, how are you navigating this? How are you helping buyers to actually, land a contract?
Well, one thing I like to tell my buyers is people will come to me and say, "Hey, I'm ready to buy a house." And I'll say, "Great. What's your credit score? How much money do you have saved?" And they'll say, "Oh, I got like a couple thousand and my score is like a 610." And the first thing I like to tell them is, one, you have to know what you're working with. Like, you need to
Hmm.
have your finances in order. Your credit score should at least be a 620. I mean, you can get approved with a 580 or 600, but if you want a better interest rate, higher credit score. But I tell them you need to be serious. Like, this is not the market to dilly dally and play around and kind of drag your feet in. Oh, yeah, I'm looking. And then, the house they want goes off the market in 3 days or 2 days
Sure.
or 12 hours. So, first
Right.
thing I tell them is like, you need to be serious about buying a house right now. If that's what you want to do, then actually let's put some real effort into it and make sure that your finances are together and that your credit is together and that you're ready to move forward quickly because
Yep.
these houses are coming and going so fast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what we've pushed a lot lately. So we quit doing pre-qualification letters. We only do pre-approvals
That's good.
because so many sellers don't even. I mean, if I'm a listing agent, I'm not gonna. That's not worth the paper it's written on to me. I want
Mm-mm.
someone that says, "Hey, I have gotten their file, I have underwritten it, and all I need is a contract." And that's how we
Right.
approach it. Um, but there's so many people that I mean, occasionally they drag their feet in terms of getting information like to the lender. As people have gotten better as they've probably talked to friends and say, get it in, get it in, get it in. But occasionally I'll still end up with a situation where I get a call and say, hey, I have a contract and someone told me to call you. I'm like, okay. They got the contract based on an online lender, but then
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
else wants to use the online lender. So then they're coming to me at the last minute. But typically, I mean, it works so much better when the lender's involved up front, agents involved up front, lender and agent are talking together.
Right.
So credit score, interesting. So what I have found on a lot of folks with credit score, some people are afraid to get their credit pulled. They said, if you pull my credit, it's going to hurt my credit. I said, well, if it's kind of like going to the doctor for a physical, like, I mean, you could have an underlying illness there and you might not want to know about it, but we need to know about it to be able to fix it.
Exactly.
And
We need to know up
sometimes,
front.
yeah, and sometimes the fix isn't overnight. And as long as we can make a plan to get there, you can usually get there. But
That's true.
that's what I see a lot of times.
I see that a lot too. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, but it's just being consultative and helping them through it. What are you seeing now versus a couple months ago on the market? Any softness, any slowing down?
Right now I'm seeing more homes on the market that are definitely not move-in ready. They
Okay.
need a little bit more work. I mean, sellers are like, whatever, I can sell my house, and they're just putting whatever on the market, or they have tenants, or if they do have a tenant, the lease doesn't end for like a year or 6 months because the people are just trying to offload the properties.
Sure.
So you see, I've been seeing a lot of properties that are not move-in ready, or they need work, or they just have issues. They may not, appraise well, or they're overpriced, and all sorts of things. I feel like the sellers are trying to take advantage, and it is a good time as a seller to take advantage,
Sure.
but not necessarily take advantage of people. So it's like, okay, get equity from your home, get as much as you can, but they're just putting anything on the market. So, and then you still have multiple offer situations. You still have, the people coming in with cash, and cash is still king. Especially this summer, cash was definitely king, but now cash is still king. I mean, I have a listing right now that I keep getting all these cash offers for, but sometimes like my seller is like, well, we wanted to go to a family and not a flipper. And I'm like, but like, do you want to sell this house, or like, would you? Okay, we just let it sit. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't care.
Right.
So
Eventually a family's going to get in there. So
yeah, eventually,
yeah.
but at this particular moment, it's just kind of hanging out, but it needs work. Again, this home needs work. It's older, it's dated, and that's something else you find. Even if the home is structurally sound, it's dated. It needs renovations, needs updating. So
Do you think all of the updated homes, a lot of those were sold already in this market, and now it's everything else is left? That's what's happening.
Yeah. Or if it's still on the market, it's higher priced, or the location is not the greatest, or things like that. So, but I mean, it's still gonna sell regardless, because there's just not enough inventory.
Got it. Okay. All right. So let's talk about sellers. Do you do a lot of listings too?
I have one listing right now, and I
Okay.
actually have a listing appointment tomorrow. So fingers crossed.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I guess you're trying to help people understand, hey, you still have to do some work on your property. I think you might think you don't have to do work on your property, but it needs to be
Yes.
ready. So
Something. It needs to like at least look like you gave it some effort. Like
yeah,
you'll go
fresh
into
coat of
some of these
paint.
homes. Yeah, or you go into some of these homes and they're like, oh, we're gonna leave everything behind, and it's up to you to get rid of all this stuff, and you're like, wait, this is a house full of stuff though. Like,
I don't want this stuff.
okay. It's like, I don't know if anybody wants this, but whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. All right. So we talked a little bit about investment. We talked about buyers. We talked about sellers. What else would you like people to know?
I would say in this market, like I like to tell my clients, like, when you say you're ready to buy a house, we do a nice consultation first and kind of talk about where they are and their goals, but you got to be ready to put a little bit of work in, and you got to have some tenacity, like, because it's hard to buy a house. If it was easy to buy a house, everybody would buy houses and it would be
That's
nothing.
right.
But it can be very challenging to buy a house. You go, you put all these offers in, they don't get accepted, or things like that. So I'm like, I tell my clients, like, you have to be ready for the challenge. Like, it's going to be challenging, but I'm telling you, when you get your keys, it's going to be so worth it. When you get ready to
Hmm.
move in and this is your house, it's going to be worth it. And I also like to tell people there's a lot of programs out there to help them get into homes and help them. I'm a full advocate of knowing your credit score, being on top of your credit. If you need credit repair or financial assistance, like financial literacy classes, like, let people know so that we can direct you to resources. um, and I tell people your lender is very important in the home buying process. Like, sometimes your lender can make or break your transaction. So
Yeah,
I'm like, having the right lender, having an agent that has good contacts and has a good network is imperative. So,
absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely. Especially the agent that can go find a home before it even shows up on the market, right?
True,
You know, I
true.
mean, that's where a lot of all the, I don't know, behind the scenes emails, hey, this one's coming up and
Yep,
I've got this
that's where
pocket
your
listing
connections
here.
come in. Yep, that's where your connections come in. And social media is a big resource. People don't utilize like Facebook enough. Like, you join as an agent, you join some of these groups. People are posting pocket listings and pocket homes all the time. So it's like, okay, they're like, hey, I have this listing coming up in a couple days. Anybody have a buyer? Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Save me the trouble
Yeah,
of a multiple offer situation. So yeah,
perfect.
having the
Yeah,
right connections is important.
that's great. I agree 100%. And for my side, lender's important, extremely important. And like, that's why, I mean, I do most of my business with realtors and I mean, having a local lender, like for example, for us, we have a local panel of appraisers. So it's not a
Oh,
national
nice.
appraisal management company. It's 6 appraisers. So one of
Good.
those people is going to go appraise the home.
Oh, that's
So
perfect.
yeah, so we're not going to have as many problems as what happens when you have you know, a national lender that sends an appraiser from one part of Atlanta to the other part of Atlanta, and they don't really understand that.
Right.
I mean, here I'm in Marietta most of the time, and one side of Whitlock Avenue, which comes through our town, homes will sell $100,000 more than the other side of Whitlock Avenue for the same
Mm,
home. And so, which there's no different, same people, same road, different school, and so the school drives the yeah. So there's, but if you don't know that, you know,
that's true.
you're out of,
That's
you know,
true. That's true.
gonna miss the appraisal. So, all right. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I guess last thing is like, how can folks get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Legacy Realty Co. That's my own personal brand. On Facebook, my Facebook business page is The Real Estate Extraordinaire.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, First Class Real Estate Premier Group, we have a Facebook page as well. So,
Perfect. Perfect.
mhm,
And
mhm.
you can reach me at look up Mortgage Minute, Jason Waters, on any social media platform. You can find all of these types of videos, different everything from investment properties, tips on mortgages, anything you want to know. We really just try to push out this information. And if you need us, get in touch and we would love to help you out. So,
Yes.
again, thanks so much. I hope
Thank
you have a great rest
you.
of the week. And I look forward
You
to seeing you
too.
again soon.